Hello, and welcome back to this yoga journey. Today marks the end of the 5th week of this. I can't believe we've been doing this already for 5 weeks. It seems like just yesterday that we were doing seeds. But it seems like a lot of our actions are finally coming to fruition. Spain is starting to open up. I know parts of the United States are starting to open up. And I figured now would be a good time for us to kind of savor a little bit of the time and place we're in. It's very common for us to be ready for the next thing, next phase of our life, next meal of the day, next this, next episode, next that. So today, I really like to focus on savoring precisely what we're feeling in this moment. Very similar to the observer, but this time we'll be a little bit more engaged with it. We'll really taste it and focus on the quality. We'll bring our intention to any intensity that we're having. We'll notice our breath. And so that being said, let's find a comfortable seated position. The spine is straight, stacked comfortably, shoulders are relaxed. If you want a cushion under your sit bones to help raise your hips up a little bit, I welcome you to use that or a chair. Bring your hands wherever's comfortable on your lap. And allow your eyes to flutter closed or find a soft gaze out in front. And notice the breath as it is right now. Not really doing anything to change it. Just notice the quality, length of the inhales, the quality and length of the exhales. Maybe it's shallow, maybe it's deep. It doesn't matter. Just notice. Now here for a second, I want you to imagine your favorite food, or one of your favorite foods. Could be a dessert, maybe it's cherry pie, could be a breakfast item, maybe it's an omelet. Doesn't really matter. But pick one distinct favorite food and imagine what that tastes like. You can even pretend to chew it. And just imagine that you're deeply savoring it, as if it's the last piece of cherry pie you know you'll have for a very long time. You just want to taste all of it, really soak it in. Maybe you're getting hungry as we think about this, and that's all right. Notice that too. Savor that. What does it feel like to be hungry? It's simply a sensation in the body, but it's something we can notice. Savor that. Moving our attention outwards, how does the rest of the body feel? Maybe there's tension in the hips or shoulders. Maybe we can savor that. Maybe the tension's a little bit like a little spice or a little crunch in a taco. It's neither good nor bad. It's just a different flavor. Maybe there's a lightness in our chest. Maybe that's a little bit like whipped cream on our cherry pie. Maybe there's a smile on our face. Maybe that's the cherry on top. Whatever sensations you're experiencing in your body, or any thoughts you're having in your mind, I encourage you to just savor them. Don't push them away. Don't do anything. We'll breathe here for a few more moments. And on an inhale, bring hands to heart center. Tuck the chins ever so slightly. Deep inhale and exhale here. And then start to rub the hands together. You can keep your eyes closed or slowly open them to find a soft gaze. To build a little bit of heat here. And we're going to wash our hands again as we re-enter the world of our normal lives or whatever social distancing we'll keep. We'll need to keep this skill. So remembering this from week 1, washing our hands. All right. Very good. From here, we'll ground both hands down, taking a gentle heart opening here, tucking shoulders back, tucking elbows back. Take an inhale, lift the heart up towards the sky. Good. Coming back to center. Inhale, arms to heart center. We'll take a few rounds of robin's breath here. Start with an inhale, then exhale, hands come forward, spine rounds. Inhale, opens the arms, opens the chest. Exhale, hands come forward, round the spine. Inhale, back to heart center. Exhale here again. Take another inhale, heart center. And exhale, hands come forward, round the spine. Inhale, chest opens. Exhale, forward. And inhale, back to center. Take a few more rounds at your own breath pace. And ending again with hands at heart center. Take one more inhale and exhale here. Then come on to hands and knees. Finding cat-cow to warm up the spine. Inhale into cat, or cow, excuse me. Exhale into cat. Taking some organic movements here, moving from side to side. Maybe barrel roll one direction and the other. Coming back to the center, finding a little bit of stillness. Knees wide, ankles in together. Push back into devotional pose. Sit bones towards the ankles, arms come forward. Forehead to mat. We'll take a few moments here to take some deep breaths. I encourage you to savor the flavor of your hips, or your back stretch. On an inhale, coming back up to tabletop position. Ground the hands down and tuck the toes. Take one more inhale here and exhale. Lift the hips up towards the ceiling, coming into downward facing dog with knees bent. And then slowly straighten one knee and then the other. Pedaling out the dog, finding a mild calf and hamstring stretch. And then coming into stillness, grounding both heels towards the mat. Then slowly walk the feet up to the front of the mat, meeting in a forward fold. Knees bent generously here to release the spine. Release the weight of the head, the crown of the head towards the mat. Allow your head to hang heavy here. With feet and hips width distant apart, bend the knees generously and inhale, reverse swan dive all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center in mountain pose. Take a few grounded breaths here. And we'll inhale, arms overhead, and exhale, slide back bend, arms to cactus, opening the chest up towards the sky. Inhale, arms back up overhead. Exhale, heart opens, keeping core engaged to protect the spine. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, cactus. Again, inhale, arms up. Exhale, cactus one more time. Inhale, arms up. And exhale, fold forward into forward bend. Knees generously bent. Then inhale, halfway lift, straight spine. Exhale, fold. And this time, pay attention. We'll lift up onto the ball of the feet, lift the heels up off the earth, and then come down into a squat position. Hugging ourselves a little bit here. Inhaling deeply into the spine can help release any tension that resides in the back body. Then planting hands down, coming forward, and then stepping back into a plank position. We'll hold plank here for about a minute. You can savor the flavor of plank pose now, this intensity. At any point, you can come down to your knees or lower to your belly. Otherwise, we'll continue this hold, building a little bit of heat. Thirty more seconds. Good work. If you want to increase the intensity of it, you can imagine that you're trying to scrunch the yoga mat up like we've talked about in other poses where you're kind of pulling down on the hands, pulling the elbows in towards the body. That'll help engage the core. Make sure to push up between the space in your back. You don't want to be sinking down your shoulders like this. Push up through the center of the back. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower all the way down to your belly. Good work. Feel that heat building up. From here, we'll bring hands under shoulders, pushing up gently into a baby cobra. Using the back strength to lift the spine up to a gentle bend. And then finally pushing back into child's pose. Knees together, ankles together, hips go to ankles, hands go by the ankles as well. Again, taking nice deep breaths, helping the spine to release. I like to imagine that the vertebrae get a little bit further apart when I breathe like this, creating space for the discs in the spine. Coming up to a tabletop position on an inhale, tucking the toes again, and pushing back into downward facing dog. Taking a little bit more time to pedal out the dog here. Bringing warmth and motion into the back of the legs. And then walk, step, or hop to the front of the mat, meeting in a forward fold. Knees bent, crown of the head releases towards the floor. And then pay attention here. From here, we'll bend knees deeply and then come straight up into chair pose. So from forward bend, we'll come up into chair pose. Your hands can be at heart center or overhead. Building more heat in the thighs, more heat in the body. You can even float the toes a little bit to help engage the quads a little more. Then we'll inhale up, exhale, cactus bend. Inhale up, exhale, sit back again into chair pose. Take one breath here, inhale and exhale. And then one more inhale, and then exhale, turn towards your right. Bringing left knee to right, or left elbow to right knee. Twisting towards the right, gaze can be down or wherever's comfortable for your neck. Taking a couple breaths here. And then bringing your weight into your right foot, lifting your left heel, and then stepping back into a twisted crescent lunge. Very good. Breathing here in this twist. And then on inhale, we'll open all the way up into Warrior Two. Rotating the left foot out to a point at a 90 degrees, pointing out towards the long edge of the mat. Right toes point forward. Hands come to T. And then straighten the front leg. And then slowly tick-tocking down with a small micro bend in the right knee still into Trikonasana, triangle pose. If you'd like to, you can float the right hands or even bring both hands to frame the head. It really engages the core. That can be a pretty intense sensation to
try and sit with. Maybe trying to cultivate a sense of ease and effort, balancing the two. Bending the right knee. Rotating the left foot to be on the ball of the left foot. Put the hands down. Pay attention here. Step the left foot forward to meet the right foot in a forward bend at the front of the mat. Bend knees generously. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center, mountain pose at the front of your mat. Take a centered breath here. Then inhale, arms up. Exhale, sit into chair pose. Taking a couple breaths here. And then on an exhale, twisting towards your left, bringing right elbow to left knee. Gaze is wherever comfortable. The right knee is going to want to protrude forward a little bit, but bringing it back in line with the left knee. Taking a couple breaths here. And then bringing weight into the ball of the left foot. Or bringing weight into the left foot, coming onto the ball of the right foot. And then gracefully stepping back into a twisted crescent lunge. Breathing here. And then in one swift motion, rotating the right ankle and opening the arms up into warrior two on the other side. So left foot is pointing forward, right foot is pointing towards the long edge of the mat. Hands are into T. Then on an inhale, straighten the left knee, keeping a small micro bend in it. And then tick-tocking down into Trikonasana, triangle pose. Left arm comes down, right arm comes up towards the sky. You did so on the other side, and you'd like to do so here. You can float the left arm up. Even bringing both arms to frame the head. Again, trying to find ease within effort. Ease is like the crucible or the container that holds the flame of the effort. And bending the front left knee, rotating onto the ball of the right foot, bringing hands to frame the front left foot, and step back into a plank pose. Going through a vinyasa flow of your choice, you can do some extra push-ups if you'd like. And then coming through cobra pose, up dog, or locust pose, and then meeting back in downward facing dog. Take a moment to pedal out the dog before you settle into a still dog with heels grounding towards the mat. From the downward facing dog, inhale, lift the right ankle towards the sky. Exhale, right knee towards right shoulder or elbow. Inhale, lift towards the sky. Exhale through right knee, left elbow coming underneath the body. Twist, good. Inhale up towards the sky and exhale, step through to a lunge, and then we'll bring the left knee back to meet the earth. Finding a little bit of a dynamic stretch that we practiced before. Coming forward to stretch the front left hip. And then coming back to stretch the right hamstring. then today we'll spend a little bit of time in the hamstring stretch, so we'll come back. You can rest with a fist or on your toes. We're really trying to isolate the stretch here. We're keeping a straight spine, chin slightly tucked. One way that can really help engage this stretch is pull the ankle in as if you're going to scrunch the mat up, but obviously it's not moving, but just engaging the muscles on the back side of the leg. And walking the hands forward again. Come up onto the ball of the left foot, bringing the knee off the mat. Inhaling, arms up overhead, crescent lunge. Feet are both in separate lanes. Hips are squared to the front of the mat. We'll take a few calf to arm dips here. Exhale, open up, dip the left knee down. Inhale, comes up towards the sky. Exhale, dip. Inhale up towards the sky. Exhale, dips. Inhale up towards the sky. And then bring the left foot in just a little bit. The toes are off at about 45 degrees in Warrior One. The right knee is slightly bent. And then we'll actually straighten the front right knee, but still keeping a small micro bend. Hands to hips. We'll bend forward over the extended right foot into pyramid pose. Finding a similar stretch in the right hamstring. For me, hamstring stretches can be particularly intense. And so this is a good time to savor that intensity, to really sit with it and notice it and feel what it's like to experience that intensity in your body. And I do think it's worth noting there's a difference between intensity and pain. A stretch can be very intense but not painful. And there is a distinction that we should know, we should make. Pain is not something we seek out in our body or in our life, but it is something that gives us feedback and can kind of tell us when something's too much or not working quite enough. And that's distinct from intensity. Intensity can be intimidating, but it's ultimately a feedback loop that can teach us where something can be deeply, deeply meaningful at the same time. Hands to hips, inhale all the way up. Squaring the hips forward, coming on the ball of the left foot. And then bring the hands to frame the right foot, stepping the left or the right foot all the way back into plank pose. Vinyasa flow of your choice, extra push-ups if you so desire. And then meet in downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, inhale the left heel towards the sky. Exhale, left knee, left shoulder. Inhale up towards the sky. Exhale, left knee, right shoulder. Rotate underneath. Good. Inhale up towards the sky. And exhale, step through. Bring the right knee down to the mat. And taking a moment to play a little bit in that dynamic stretch. Coming backwards to stretch the left hamstring. Coming forward to stretch the right hip. Then finally coming back, we'll spend some static time in the isolated hamstring stretch. Coming back with the left foot forward, toes pointed up towards the ceiling. You can have your hands on the fingertips or at a fist to carry a little bit of that extra weight. Remembering to breathe. And coming all the way forward again. Bring the hands to frame the left foot, tuck the right toes under, coming up to bring the knee off the mat into crescent lunge. Inhale, arms up overhead. And exhale, cactus dip. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, cactus dip. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, cactus dip. Last one. Arms up, and then bringing the right foot forward, toes at 45 degrees. Right toes at 45 degrees. Hips are squared towards the front of the mat. And straightening the front left leg. As always, maintain a small micro bend in the front left foot. Hands to hip. And then slowly bending forward over the extended leg. Breathing into that stretch. If you'd like to, you can bring your hands down the front left leg or even to the mat if it's accessible. Bringing hands to hips. Coming all the way back up on an inhale, bend the left knee. Then bring the toes or the ball of the right foot back underneath. And then bring the hands to frame the front left foot, stepping back into plank position. Vinyasa flow of your choice. Meeting in, this time, in devotional pose. Knees wide, heels together. If you'd like to take a sip of water, now is a good time to do so. If you remember what our first devotional pose felt like at the very beginning of practice, I encourage you to make a kind of internal note of how different you might feel now that we've done a few more stretches. Maybe your hips are a little bit looser and you can sit deeper into devotional pose. Maybe your mind is a little bit calmer. Slowly pushing up into a kneeling position. We'll be in kneeling for a little while, so if you experience pain in the top of your feet or anything like that,
I encourage you to put a towel or some extra cushion underneath there, or even do these poses from a seated position. Seated is totally fine, but a few of these we'll be focusing on neck and shoulders. So let's take a little bit of time to get a neck stretch right now. Grounding the left arm down and sinking the right ear towards the right shoulder and rocking the head back and forth. Sometimes it's better to do neck stretches at the beginning of a practice when we're cold. Sometimes it's nicer to do these once we're already a little bit warmed up. Using the right hand to help bring the head back to center. Shake the shoulders out a little bit. Grounding the right fingertips down, dropping the left ear to left shoulder, finding a stretch on the right side of the neck. One of my favorite foods is blue cheese. And I remember when I was younger, I used to detest blue cheese. I thought it was vile, and I couldn't understand how anybody would ever want to eat it. It was strangely colored, intensely flavored, and had a very foot-like smell. And it's interesting to notice how much our taste changes. Maybe something we find vile one day, the next day or later in our life, we find that we actually really like it, or we at least have an appreciation for it. Maybe things we liked as kids we don't like quite as much now, but maybe we can keep an understanding of why we liked it, or why someone might like that. Having an understanding for different tastes. Using the left hand to push the head all the way back up to center. Rotating the shoulders, we'll bring them forward, up, and back. Forward, up, back. A couple more times. And finally, just down and back. Melting the shoulders down. We'll take eagle arms, focusing on the back stretch. Bringing left arm over top first, right arm on bottom. Perhaps this is your eagle arms today, totally fine. Perhaps you want to go a little bit deeper. You can bring the left arm up to vertical, maybe wrapping the right arm around a little bit. Wherever you can reach is fine. And then taking a little bit of time to find a stretch here. I know a lot of us carry tension and stress in our shoulders, so let's give those areas a little bit of extra love here. Taking some nice deep breaths. Imagining almost that the tension is like cotton candy, and the tension just kind of melts in our mouth once we get a hold of it. There it is. Our breath just helps it melt. Opening the arms up on an inhale. kind of even out the shoulders a little bit. Maybe rotate them one direction and the other. Very good. Bringing the right arm on top this time, pointed across the body. Maybe this is the extent of your eagle arch today. Totally fine. If you want to go deeper, you can raise the right hand towards the ceiling. Maybe bringing both palms together to touch. And then finding a nice stretch on the right side of the shoulder blades, right side of the neck. Bringing your breath to those areas of tension. And then releasing both arms. This time we'll start bringing the shoulders back, up and forward. Back, up, forward. And then reverse it. Shoulders come forward, up, back. Forward, up, and back. Last time. Forward, up, and back. And then they melt all the way down, feeling grounded. Wherever you are, coming to a seated position, bringing the feet out in front. Start with a generous bend in the knees, using the hands to prop the chest up a little bit. Then exhale, folding forward over the extended legs, and then slowly starting to extend the heels forward, finding a stretch in both legs. If you're going to round your spine, have a generous bend in the knees. Otherwise, if you're trying to straighten the knees, your spine should be straight as well. And as you straighten it, you want your neck to be a natural extension of your spine. So you can imagine that you're holding a piece of fruit or something like that, so that your spine, or that your head's not crunching forward or lifting up like that. Natural extension. Then use your hands to walk yourself back up. Extending the right foot out, squaring the shoulders of the extended right leg, and then leading with the heart. You can almost imagine that it's your heart leading towards the leg, not your head or anything else like that. Begin with an inhale, and then exhale, fold over the extended right leg, breathing deeply into the hamstring. And then using your hands to push yourself back up. Center, switching sides, extending your left heel out, tucking your right foot in. Squaring the hips over the extended left leg.
Begin with an inhale, open heart, open chest, and exhale over the extended leg. Using your hands to push yourself up and out of this position. Very good. We'll come into pigeon pose. If pigeon pose is part of your practice, we'll go there. Otherwise, I recommend you come into figure four. So if you're coming into figure four, I'll show that first. You can start as if you're going to go into boat, and then tuck your left ankle across your right knee, and then pulling your right leg in towards your chest to stretch the outside of the left hip. If you prefer to come into pigeon pose, we'll bring the left shin parallel with the short edge of the mat. The left ankle is near the right hand, and the left knee is near the left hand, and the left ankle is flexed. And we'll try to bring the right hip, knee, and ankle all in one line. We'll start raised up, and if we can, we're going to use our strength to lift our hands up, engaging the left hip, engaging the right hip, to float ourselves up. Maybe we just can lift our hands just for a second, that's okay. And then on an exhale, folding forward. If you're in figure four, take some time to play around and find the optimum stretch for you. Melting into this position, I know this can be intense for a lot of people as well, so savoring that intensity, breathing deeply with it. On an inhale, push yourself up out of pigeon pose, sitting down in between, bringing ankles out in front of the body. If you're in figure four, come up to seated for just a second, and windshield wiper the legs from side to side, neutralizing the spine. Switching sides. If you did figure four on the other side, this time you'll bring your right ankle across over your left knee. If you did pigeon, you'll bring your right shin parallel with the short edge of the mat. And then working towards left hip, knee, and ankle alignment. And then we'll start raised up. And we'll engage the right hip, left hip as well. So we can float the hands, maybe even come up in full pigeon for just a second. Feeling that intensity. Take a couple breaths. And then when you're ready, exhale, fold over the right leg. Remembering to breathe. balanced, walk your hands up. And then bring both feet out in front of you. Again, ankles in line with hips, and we'll windshield wipers side to side. And then we'll lower ourselves all the way down, bringing both knees into towards the chest. You can roll forward or from side to side. Give yourself a little spinal massage here. And then if there's any other motions that you would like to do, shoulder stand or bridge or anything like that, I encourage you to go there before final twist. And then Shavasana. So if you're going straight into a final twist, we'll bring the shins parallel to the mat and allow the knees to go over towards the right side. Gaze can be with the legs towards the right, up towards the ceiling, or towards the left. And as always, try to keep the left shoulder glued down to the mat. Breathing in this twist here. Then with core engaged, on an inhale, bring the knees back up to center. And then exhale them over towards the left side. Right shoulder stays glued down. These can be with the legs towards the left, up towards the ceiling, or towards the right. Now with core engaged, on an inhale, bring the knees back up and towards center. Give yourself one final last squeeze, and then allowing legs to go long. Shoulder blades tuck under, hands are near the side of the hips with palms towards the ceiling. Eyes are closed for Shavasana. I encourage you to sink deeply in this pose into the earth and simply relax. Savor the relaxed sensation that you've cultivated. If your mind wanders, allow it to go back to the breath.
If you prefer to stay laying down in Shavasana, I encourage you to stay there. Soak in the relaxation. If you prefer to be in a seated position, begin to wiggle toes and fingers. Roll out your wrists, roll out your ankles. Bend elbows and knees. And eventually coming over to one side in fetal position for a few breaths. No rush in any of this. As you're ready, coming up to a seated position. Eyes closed or with a soft gaze. As always, the link to Andrew's Zoom meditation tomorrow is in the description of the video, as well as a link to his YouTube page. Brief announcement for next week. On Monday, I'll be teaching a class primarily using props. So if you have a foam roller, I encourage you to grab it, or a yoga block. We'll also be using a strap, so you can use a belt. I'll be using my jiu-jitsu belt, but you can use a leather belt or anything like that, or even a dish towel or pillowcase or something like that. And a couple pillows might be nice as well. And perhaps a chair. I will put in the description if we need a chair or not. But at least grab a few of those things so we can play around with those. And I'll talk a little bit about self-care with props and how we can use those to enhance some of the yoga poses and stretches. So, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And thank you again, as always, for joining me on this yoga journey. Namaste.